Hey there, Mr. Fear Crew. Ready to feel a chill down your spine? Today, we're diving into one of England's creepiest places, Cannock Chase, a forest in Staffordshire that looks like it's straight out of a horror movie. This area is famous, not just for its beauty, with tall pine trees and shadowy trails, but for being a hotspot of bizarre happenings. You know what's been going down there? Werewolf sightings. That's right, half-man, half-beast creatures that have haunted the region for decades. According to reports, in the last 30 years alone, there have been 21 documented cases of people swearing they've seen these creatures. Cannock Chase isn't just any forest. It's a place with heavy vibes, where stories of UFOs, black-eyed children, and even unexplained animal mutilations have surfaced. The area has an energy that even the biggest skeptics can't ignore. The werewolves there are described as tall, hairy figures with glowing eyes and a mix of human and animal traits. Some say it's legend, others swear it's real. But when you hear the stories, it's hard not to feel that gut-wrenching dread. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's check out the 3 creepiest cases, the most disturbing one of all, and the 2 most recent ones that are making waves. Brace yourself, because this is going to keep you up at night. Alright folks, hold on tight, because this is one of those cases that'll make you want to turn on every light in the house. We're in 1987, on a cold autumn night in Cannock Chase. This story is about a guy named Thomas, a 34-year-old mechanic from Rugeley, right near the forest. Thomas was the kind of guy who kept his feet on the ground. No fairy tales, no monsters. But that night, everything changed. It was around 11 p.m., and Thomas had gone to visit his mom, who lived near St. Mary's Church, an old building deep in Cannock Chase. He decided to take a shortcut through the woods, something he'd done 1,000 times before. The full moon lit up the sky, and the only sound breaking the silence was the crunch of branches under his feet. As he walked, Thomas started feeling this weird pressure, like he was being watched. He looked around, nothing, just darkness and trees. Then, suddenly, he heard a low growl coming from behind a pine tree. He froze, heart pounding. Must be a dog, he thought, trying to convince himself. But the sound got louder, deeper, nothing like a dog. And then he saw it. About 10 meters away, a figure stepped out of the shadows. It was tall, around 7 feet, with broad shoulders and covered in dark fur. The face? A horrifying mix of man and wolf, with glowing yellow eyes reflecting the moonlight. Its hands were like claws, and it stood slightly hunched, as if ready to pounce. Thomas was paralyzed. The creature took a step, and the ground seemed to shake slightly. He swears he heard something like a whisper, but he couldn't make out the words. Panic took over, and he started backing away slowly, never taking his eyes off the thing. But then, it howled, a sound so deep and loud it made his blood run cold. It echoed through the entire forest. Thomas tripped over a root and fell flat on his back. When he looked up again, the creature was closer, just 5 meters away, and he could see its sharp teeth glinting. Terrified, Thomas scrambled to his feet and bolted toward the church, about 200 meters away. He could feel the ground shaking behind him, like the thing was running too. The air was thick, and the stench of something rotten filled his nose. When he finally reached the churchyard, he slammed into the door, thankfully unlocked, and threw himself inside, locking it behind him. Gasping for air, he waited for the creature to break the door down. But nothing. Total silence. Thomas spent the night curled up in a corner, praying for dawn. When the sun finally rose, he stepped outside, but there was no sign of the creature. Just deep marks in the ground, like huge footprints, disappearing into the trees. He ran home and told his mom everything. She turned pale with fear. The police were called, but they didn't take him seriously, just said it was a wild animal, or some prankster in a costume. But Thomas knew what he saw. He never walked through Cannock Chase at night again and started carrying a crucifix in his pocket. The case became famous because Thomas wasn't the type to make things up. He gave interviews to local papers, and even a paranormal researcher from the area, David Holt, looked into it. Holt found the footprints and said they looked bipedal, but bigger than a human's. Other locals also reported hearing strange howls that same night. To this day, this remains one of the creepiest cases from Cannock Chase, because Thomas didn't just see the creature, he felt it, like it wanted something from him. All right, folks, buckle up. This next one's fresh. We're talking 2022, on a famous trail in Cannock Chase called Sherbrooke Valley. This is one of the most recent encounters, and it's been blowing up paranormal forums. The witness? Sarah, a 29-year-old photographer who loved exploring the forest for nighttime shoots. She was adventurous, never afraid to go solo, until this night changed everything. It was September 2022, and Sarah decided to do a midnight photo session, taking advantage of the full moon to capture the forest's eerie atmosphere. She packed her camera, a flashlight, and her phone, then set off down a less traveled path locals call Deer's Way. Everything was fine at first. She snapped photos of the trees and the starry sky. But around 12:30 a.m., the air shifted. It got colder, and a thin fog started rising from the ground, something unusual for that time of year. Sarah felt a chill, but brushed it off as just the forest's vibe. Then she heard a snap, like something stepping on a branch. She swung her flashlight around but saw nothing. Probably just a deer, she thought. She kept walking, but the snapping sounds grew, more frequent, like something was following her. She stopped and yelled, "Is someone there?" Silence. Just the wind. But when she looked down, she saw fresh footprints in the dirt, large, clawed, and definitely not human. Her heart raced. She picked up the pace, but now the snapping sounds came from all directions. Then, about 15 meters ahead, she spotted two yellow lights glowing between the trees, like eyes locked onto her. Sarah froze. The thing moved, and she saw its outline. Tall, hairy, with broad shoulders and long legs. Not a deer, not a bear. Something that walked like a man but moved like a beast. Instinct kicked in. Sarah hit the camera flash and took a shot. The light revealed the creature for just a second. An elongated face, bared teeth, and those burning eyes. The creature let out a growl so deep Sarah felt it in her chest. She dropped the flashlight and ran, not daring to look back. As she sprinted, she heard heavy footsteps behind her, branches snapping, and a stench like rotting meat. The trail felt endless, but she finally reached a clearing where she'd parked her car. Shaking, she jumped in and locked the doors. In the rearview mirror, she saw the creature standing at the edge of the clearing, just watching. She started the car and peeled out. Back home, she checked the camera. The photo was there, but blurry, showing only a dark shape with glowing eyes. She posted her story online, and other Cannock Chase locals replied, saying they'd seen something similar on the same trail. The police investigated, but only found the footprints, which vanished into the woods. Some say Sarah overreacted, that it was just an animal, but she swears she's never going back. The photo, though unclear, went viral in cryptozoology circles and is still debated as possible evidence. All right, folks, this one's from 2024. So fresh it's still blowing up WhatsApp groups across Staffordshire. It involves a group of friends, Jake, Emily, Matt, and Chloe, all in their early 20s, who decided to camp in Cannock Chase for a weekend of adventure. They picked a secluded spot near Castle Ring, an archaeological site with a reputation for being haunted. What was supposed to be a chill night of campfires and marshmallows turned into a full-blown nightmare. It was a hot July night with a full moon hanging overhead. The group set up their tents, built a fire, and were laughing, telling scary stories to freak each other out. Around 2 a.m., Matt, who'd gone to gather more firewood, came sprinting back, pale and shaking. "There's something in the woods," he gasped. The others laughed, thinking he was messing with them. But Matt was dead serious. He swore he saw a huge shadow, bigger than a man, moving between the trees, and heard a low, guttural growl. Emily, the biggest skeptic of the group, brushed it off as just an animal and went with Jake to check it out. They grabbed flashlights and walked a few meters into the woods. Suddenly, their lights started flickering, and Emily's phone shut off for no reason. Then they heard it, a long, drawn-out howl, echoing from every direction. Chloe, who'd stayed at the campsite, screamed for them to come back. When they returned, the fire was nearly out, despite having just added fresh wood. Terrified, all 4 of them crammed into one tent. Jake tried recording a video, but his phone died instantly. Then came the worst part. Something started circling the tent, clawing at the fabric. They heard heavy footsteps, like something massive was stalking them. Chloe peeked through the tent zipper and saw it. A tall, hairy creature with glowing eyes, standing just 5 meters away. She screamed, and the thing answered with a growl so deep it made the tent shake. In total panic, they made a run for the car, 300 meters away. They grabbed only the keys and bolted, hearing the creature crashing through the trees behind them. Branches snapped, and the stench of rot hung thick in the air. When they reached the car, Matt looked back and saw the creature standing at the edge of the trail, just watching, as if it had let them go. They sped off and didn't stop until they hit town. The next day, they returned with the police to collect their gear. The tent was shredded, and there were huge footprints all around, though cops dismissed them as just a large animals. The friends posted their story on X, Twitter, and it went viral, with others claiming they'd seen something similar near Castle Ring. To this day, no one can explain what it was. This 2024 encounter is the stuff of nightmares, right? 4 friends. Just trying to have fun, only to come face to face with pure terror. Castle Ring already had a haunted rep, but this story takes it to another level. Was it a werewolf, a forest spirit, or just mass hysteria, the scariest part? How the creature seemed in control, like it chose to let them escape. Cannock Chase remains a mystery, and this case proves that even in 2024, there are things out there no one can explain. So, would you camp there?